Mailer, Mr. Frisbee. We'll turn it over to you regarding the music trip.
Well, Chris and I have come here tonight to address you about something that we feel is kind of a big deal and would be a nice thing for our music department. We'd like to consider taking a joint music trip between the band and vocal programs. This is something that has occurred in the WLVA school district for a long, long time. And I think years ago, if you think back to somebody who's been around for a while, the Dean Marshall days, the Sac City band used to, you're laughing.
I didn't go to school.
The Sac City band used to do the same thing. Somewhere along the way, the tradition kind of got lost, but we think it's just a great thing as far as recruitment and retention within the program. And if you think back to any of you who might have participated in school music, chances are you don't remember sitting in the rehearsal room. You remember the trips and the functions that you went to, and that's what we're trying to do, is create those memories. So I guess what we're coming to you tonight for is just kind of a good faith permission from you to look further into it. We haven't really nailed down any specific destinations or dates. We're thinking the spring of 2011, which would fit into the 4-year cycle that all like the Auburn kids had kind of been in. The trip is entirely paid for by the students. They have several fundraising opportunities that they will be given over the next couple of years, and that's kind of why we're coming to you this early on it, is we'd like to give the kids plenty of fair warning to raise that money, and so that any kid who wants to go will have the opportunity to go. But also we're looking for kind of a commitment from those students as well. You know, if you're going to be going on this trip as a reward, then we feel like you should commit yourself to the program for the next couple of years, hopefully avoiding anyone who might, I can't foresee this happening, but anyone who might sign up the second semester of 2011, write a check for, however many dollars that it's going to be, and say I'm going on a trip. So that's kind of where we're at with that. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Chris, did I leave anything out?
Sounds good to me. I gave the spiel last time.
Yeah, it was my turn.
And did you decide to dress in orange tonight, or?
No,
You do that once in a while.
You get the memo. Any destinations in mind?
We've tossed some around. Basically how it started was we kind of said to the kids, a lot of the WLVA kids kind of knew that this was the tradition, was hoping it was going to continue. So they started kind of asking, are we going to do a trip again? And we said, well, there's nothing in stone yet, but we're considering it. Where would you like to go? And we kind of threw it back at them, and boy, you wouldn't believe some of the destinations they came up with. But in the past, WLVA music groups have gone to some pretty neat destinations. Washington, D.C. was the most recent one.
The last couple. Before that, we've done San Francisco. D.C. has been the most common one. If you go way back, they used to do New York City. But those have been the main ones.
How many days is this trip?
Usually no more than a week. Usually leave like on a Friday, get back on a Wednesday.
That is what I left out. What we were kind of looking at, we'd like for it to be very performance-based. A lot of these touring companies have music festivals in all these destinations you go to. You perform much like you do at our local contests, and the adjudicators there are nationally known musicians. They'll give you feedback and comments, and we'd like to incorporate that in our preparation for the state contest, which is coming up here in the first part of May. It's only the first, second weekend of May. Easter that year happens to fall fairly late in April.
April 24th.
There you go. And we were hoping that maybe we could incorporate, assuming that we would have the normal spring break around that Easter time, if we could leave maybe that weekend before Easter, come back on a Good Friday, we'd really minimize the time we're gone from school. Because, we don't want to take on school any more than we have to, but by the same token, it's unavoidable you're going to miss a few days on a trip like this.
Trip to DC DC would be highly educational for all of them.
Last time we went to DC, that was my first year at WLBA. We did Washington Monument. All the kids went up in the monument. Smithsonian. We have a picture of in formal dress in front of the White House. I'm trying to recall this all off the top of my head.
Do you do something on the Potomac? Don't you do a nighttime? Did you do a
That's an
nighttime cruise?
option.
Okay,
I don't remember if we did the last time or not, but I know the time before that they did.
like an evening cruise on a, something or
Yeah.
other on the Potomac.
That was one of the things, yeah.
Probably one of the best things I've ever done, I've been to DC a number of times, is we got on a trolley the last time, and we learned more about the city of Washington than we ever had before. And actually rode the trolley around and got off at all the monuments or wherever you wanted to get off, you know, Arlington Cemetery, wherever.
That's
But you
one
can
thing we
get
did.
back onto the trolleys again, and you learn all kinds of things that you'll never learn just going by yourself.
And we took 100 people last time we went. So we had tour guides on buses that were pointing things out. Andy Meredith had been there enough times, he served as an informal tour guide. And he pointed things out. So yeah, there's both an educational aspect to it, no matter where we end up going. We went to San Francisco, we did Golden Gate Bridge, Aquarium, we had 2 performances. 'Cause I was a student on that trip, so I remember all this stuff, kinda. So any trip we take, no matter what the destination is, there's of course the fun aspect for the kids. There's an educational aspect outside of our area, and then there's a performance aspect.
You're asking, and really no vote, just permission to continue working on and developing. Kids are registering for classes soon, so mostly what these 2 guys wanted to make sure that you knew is that the information that will go to students will be to be eligible for the trip. You're going to do what they talked about in second semester of the year. You're headed to wherever we sign up for band and choir. But it's a 2-year commitment. So you're part of the fundraising as well as the commitment to the program. And you'll keep working and occasionally come back to the boards to talk about where things are at and what's going on with
The way a lot of these tour companies work is that we're not going to be able to lock into a destination or prices until this time next year. So we can't specifically say anything for at least another year as far as destination and cost. But we want to get kids into our programs so that they get used to that aspect of it before we go flying off somewhere.
Or driving.
Or driving, or sailing, or whatever we end up doing.
Whatever should happen to be.
How about their other classes? Say you have a music student and they've been participating all the way through high school, but they're not doing very well on some of their other studies and...
That, we're gonna have an agreement that they'll sign, and one of the stipulations on that agreement is that they'll be academically eligible. As well as, you know, no violations of the good conduct policy and no removal of the music class or
That kind of stuff.
And actually, that issue came up at the last trip with academic ineligibility, good conduct. So it's not like it hasn't happened in.
So we have a document that we're drafting up that we will present to you as soon as it's ready. That basically outlines what we're responsible for providing to them and their responsibilities in order to be eligible for the trip. And we've got a list of 8 or 9 stipulations that we're working on that include the same things we've been talking about. And it has come up in the past with these trips where, you know, I think the last time was a couple weekends before, we had a bunch of students get caught on a good conduct violation. So, this stuff does come up, and if we get it to them now and saying that, okay, if you do this, you're done, that removes some of that.
The expectations are clear up front.
Exactly. Because we've gotten in trouble with that in the past. But we'll learn from it.
And your tour groups that you work, or the tour companies that you work with, are from where?
They're mostly educationally based. We've called 10 or 12 different ones just to see what they have offered. And right now I just have a big old stack of stuff they've emailed or sent, and they're from all over the country.
I can help you with something like that, let me know. I want contacts.